Welcome back. Higher Education has released a list of the top 100 scarce skills in the country. The usual suspects of engineers, accountants, health professionals and architects, of course, were listed. But these vocations can be difficult to get into due to steep requirements and, of course, limited space. So experts say high school graduates should look at other opportunities because there really are other opportunities. These include short courses and learnerships in 4IR. Let's discuss this now with Sabelo Myeni from the Sisekelo Institute of Business and Technology. Mr. Myeni, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. My usual go-to question when we have these kinds of conversations is, are the high school students, matriculants, and it shouldn't even be starting at matric, it should be starting at grade 10, I believe, are they being taught? Are they being informed? Are they being shown? Are they being let know about the opportunities that are before them, so that when our parents, because our parents come from different generations, you know, all they know is, yeah, you should be a doctor, you should be an engineer, you should be an accountant. You know, they know the typical supposed money-making careers, but they don't know that there is some money in plumbing. You know, there is some money in doing different kinds of things that are seen as low jobs. But are students these days being taught and given the necessary information so that their options are wider than what they already have?
Good morning, Morena, and good morning to the viewers of eNCA. First of all, let me just congratulate the matriculants of 2022. Well done and congratulations to them. To answer your question, I think if you look at where we come from, sometimes the environment that we come from, it can just determine the type of conversations we have when it comes to careers. So the world is changing at a highest pace and speed, and sometimes, you know, as things change, you realize that what our parents were exposed to is no longer relevant now, or there's so much that has been introduced in the market, and therefore some of those things our parents really do not have a view of. I would say that if you look at many schools, they have career led initiatives where they invite different institutions to come and talk about their available careers. But I think a lot more needs to be done, because certainly the world has changed, you know, fueled by technology. There's so many careers that young people can actually look at instead of your traditional careers where you go to a university and acquire a degree, for example. There are so many occupations that do not necessarily require for anyone to go to a university to acquire a degree. So yeah.
I'm looking at the kinds of jobs, you know, that it's said here that they don't require many years of study. But it's not to say that they don't require a high level of competence. And I'm talking business analysts, project managers, software developers, computer network technicians. Computer network technician for me just says, when you say that to me, to a broadcaster, you know, you're basically talking, you need to be incredibly in tune with your IT. So you need to be very intelligent. But it says you don't even need that many years to study, but you obviously do need to know the job. So how is it that, you know, you've got students who, when you look at a business analyst, they kind of probably think, yeah, well, that's not an actuary, so it's probably not something that I want to get into. If you were to sit somebody down who only knows accountant and actuary and something along those lines, and you say to them, business analyst, what exactly are you saying to them when you talk about that profession?
So I think I just need to maybe state that some of these careers have been influenced or informed by digital transformation. If you look at, you know, to be a business analyst, it does not require one to go to university and study for many years. Within a year, you can be able to go and acquire that, because it's an occupation that can be where you can take a young person and be developed within a year and practically put them in the workplace. I just want to say also, the nice thing about these new occupation or that are on demand is that even when you take graduates and retrain them on those particular skills, you are able then to repurpose them. Obviously, someone with a degree, they stand a better chance of, you know, grasping and understanding. But what we are saying here in the message is that even someone who you know, comes straight from matric, they can actually be trained as a software developer, as a business analyst. You don't have to go to university to spend a lot of time. And with the work that we are doing at Sisekelo, we've realized that even when you take graduates and train them on these scarce and critical skills around demand, because you know that some graduates are sitting at home, and you take them and you put them through these, courses, they are able then to find jobs because they are on demand in the market. So really, it's just to take these available careers and expose young people to them and show them that actually you can go and make a career out of these instead of the traditional route of going to university. I mean, we work with young people from different backgrounds. Some of them, from poor under-resourced universities. Communities. When they come in here, they within a year they are able to attain a skill. Within a year, they are able to get that practical experience to go and work, be it in business analysis, project management, software development, even artisans. And you are able then to be someone who has the skill. Because the biggest challenge with our young people is that they are unemployable because they lack the skill to be able to go and work.
True. You highlight an important population in South Africa, the under-resourced communities, the people that come from under-resourced backgrounds, under-resourced schools, schools that don't offer things like robotics and coding. Those are being introduced in some elite schools. At least a couple that I've seen here in Johannesburg have introduced those, and they've done so at primary school level. How important is that there is an introduction, basic education department puts that across the board, and it's not just left to perhaps the IEB schools, and that you do get the kids that Sisekelo are speaking to in the disenfranchised communities, that they start learning at the age of 9, 10, things like coding and robotics.
I think it's very important, and I'm happy to see that the Department of Education is actually embracing that. A lot of our young people, we see them who come from poor backgrounds. You find that they have to just start from scratch, even in terms of understanding what is robotics, what is software development. But there is a lot that needs to be done there. And I think the earlier the better, even in terms of these careers, so that when the young people finish matric, they don't have to start from scratch. You see, even the graduates that you get, even though they've done IT, but because they've started learning about these at a very late age, in terms of their careers, it becomes a problem. So we need a curriculum review, introduce these kind of subjects. If you look at other countries, these things are introduced at primary level. Obviously, in South Africa, I think, if you look at most of the private schools, they've started including that. And again, it further widened the gap in terms of the haves and the have-not, in terms of the skill set. What we really do here at Sisekelo, we just take young people, look at their passion, assess sort of like their interest and aptitude to be programmers and coders, and then we are able then to start from scratch. And we've seen that all young people really need is an opportunity because they have the potential to be developed and then build careers for themselves.
Sabelo, just quickly before I let you go, we know that a chartered accountant, an actuary, a mechanical or chemical engineer, a doctor, those who specialize, I'm talking neurosurgeons and the likes, they make good money. And if you're going to talk to somebody who is 18 and they're looking for a career, it's probably not the best thing to do, but it's fair that the first thing they're going to ask is, do they make good money? Does a business analyst, a project manager, software developer, computer network technician, do they make good money too?
They make lots of money. I can just give you some examples with the young people that we start. We've taken guys who come for training for the first year. They earn up to 20,000 bucks, because these companies, it's a sought out skill, and they're looking for those young people in software development, cybersecurity professionals. You know that there is such a huge demand for those. So there is certainly money to be made in these, because not only in South Africa but also just globally there is demand for talent. So these young people, they get to work with international companies who are paying really good monies. When I look at some of the students that we've trained, they've grown in their careers. They've done well for themselves. Some of them, they're even driving, fancy cars. They've built homes. They've changed their lives. So there is money to be made within these careers, especially in the tech space.
And that is incredibly encouraging, because not everybody is going to be a doctor. Scarce a skill as it may be, and very much desperately we may need it, but not everybody is going to be a doctor, an engineer, or an accountant. So if you can be a business analyst, you do have an opportunity to make a good deal of money for yourself. Sabelo, we're going to leave it there with you. Thank you so much for joining us here on the South African Morning this morning. That is the Chief Executive Officer of Sisekelo Institute of Business and Technology.